Good evening, everyone. My name is Megha, and I'm going to be your moderator for this session. I welcome you all to the first masterclass of Generative AI Virtual Internship Program. This has been curated by Skillable in collaboration with AICTE, and our goal is to equip you with the right kind of knowledge and skills that is required in this rapidly evolving generative AI era. But before we start, before I start introducing the guest faculty and we talk about the kind of content that we are going to cover, let's do an ice breaking activity. Right? So I want you all to be very interactive throughout the session. You have your Q&A section opened up here in the town hall. Whenever you feel like that you have a question that you want the faculties to answer, you can just write down the question there itself. But just to get a feel of it, I want you all to go to the browser and type in menti.com, menti.com. You keep doing that. Meanwhile, I'll share my screen and I'll reveal the activity to you. Go to the browser, please, and type menti.com, menti.com. I hope the screen is visible. You all can see on the top. Join menti.com, and there's a code that I'm sharing with you, 2259 So use this code and answer this question. What's your primary field of study or work? So I want all the participants to go to menti.com right away. The moment you log into it, you will find a space where you need to use this code. Type down 2259 and answer this question. So we'll wait for your answers. So while learners are going to menti.com to answer this question, let me set some expectations for this masterclass. Right? So I want you all to be very interactive and engaging, engrossed in the session. We have a guest faculty who's an experienced faculty who will be walking you through various kinds of concepts under generative AI. And we'll also have an interactive session wherein he'll be asking you questions and you can just type down your answers there itself. Very well. I can see a lot of you are answering cloud computing, data science. All right. AI ML. Great. Finance, okay, great. Engineering, wonderful, wonderful. Keep the answers coming. That's wonderful. So my whole agenda of doing this particular activity was to understand the crowd because we have with us Dr. Prabhajot Singh. So he is going to address you. Dr. Prabhajot Singh is again here with us. He's the guest faculty and he's assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering who brings over 6 years of teaching experience. So without further ado, let's welcome him. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for that welcome. I hope that I'm clearly audible to all of you. I just need a confirmation.
Yes,
I
sir.
hope I'm clearly. Okay, perfect, great. So, thank you so much for giving that opportunity and to be with the learners, whom always that's a good experience to connect with them and definitely sharing my experience also and learning from them as well, right? So let me just first set a bit agenda, like why we are here. I hope that most of us we already have an idea that we are here to have an introduction about generative AI, right? Once we talk about this field, there are various things that we can do here, and it's a very vast field also because it has the combination of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and many other things. So I would like to take this masterclass as an opportunity to give you a bit introduction and various advantages and what we can achieve with this with the help of this. So with this, I would like to share my screen and would like to present you through which we can work upon. So can you please just confirm my screen is visible, or let me maximize it so that I can run that. Okay, just give me 1 second. Perfect. So is this visible to everyone? Can you just please give me the confirmation? I hope so.
It is visible, sir.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So we are here to talk about the introduction to generative AI. When we say about this word, it means we have artificial intelligence, right? And when we are talking about intelligence, obviously we are talking about having some sort of knowledge with which it can achieve something. And while we are talking about here the word as generative, which is coming from the word as generate, which means we want to generate some new data, which can be in the form of text, which can be in the form of audio, which can be in the form of an image, which can be in the form of video, anything, right? So that means through the artificial intelligence, we want to generate some new data. That's what it referred to as generative AI. So let's talk about the few key takeaways from this particular talk, that what are our expectations and what we can get. So generative AI tools are great for productivity, right? The very good example of this, if it is coming in my mind and I can give it to you, that is ChatGPT. I hope you might have used it in one or another way. So we are using this application for the purpose of generating new data. And how it is generating new data? Through the artificial intelligence, right? That means it has some sort of intelligence in it with which it is able to generate the new data, right? But again, if I talk more specifically, yes, that means there will be some algorithm. When I talk about the term algorithm, we talk about that set of rules or instructions which are defined, or the logic that is working behind in order to generate this new data, right? Which is very important. So this is the reason that we have n number of generative AI tools to generate the new data, which in terms of text we talk about, which in terms of audio we talk about, in terms of video we talk about, they are all available. So we will a bit focus in this talk, will focus on that how these tools can be great for productivity and how we will should always be used these tools, and that taught to be used with the critical mind, right? Because at the same where they have so many advantages, yes, they are also prone to mistakes and hallucinations, right? Which can produce new results. But how these results are being produced or getting generated, that's what we are going to discuss here. So till now, just a simple term we have discussed so far, generative AI, which means to generate the new data through some artificial intelligence, right? And for that, we'll talk about the procedure, that how it is used, how we can use in a good way, because the model which is there to help us generate new data, it can also get some mistakes. So there's a lot of like hype, doom or gloom around AI is there, right? So many people talk about AI that it is it is a it is good for the human beings, right? We have been able to ease our work, right? We have been able to learn in a more smart way, right? But at the same time, the people also have certain beliefs that with coming AI, yes, it can result in losing of a job. It can result in producing some data where there is no help of the user or the humans required, right? So there's a lot of hype that is around the world that there will require no humans to generate the new, to write the codes, we'll have that, right? But how actually we will use it in a right way, and how these tools are very important, or how actually they are working in order to generate the new data, it's very important for us to learn that, right? So that we can use it in a good way. So let me just start with the very simple concept that when we talk about this AI, what specifically we are talking about. So when we talk or hear about this word AI, think it like a statistical pattern matching. Now you might have a very basic example of this. I would also like to give through this AI, first of all, that where this AI it is being used. This AI it is being used in the medical field as well, right? Like you talk about predicting the cancer cells. Okay. You talk about predicting the transactions are fraud or not, right? So in many such ways that this AI it is being used, but behind that AI, yes, there is that statistical pattern matching is there. There is a model which is there to predict that or to find that pattern. Why? Because otherwise, how the intelligence would know that, considering let's suppose a transaction is a fraud or not? How does it know that? Which means it is very important for us to provide the data. And through that data, it will do the pattern matching, and then we'll be able to understand that how it is being used. So this is why when you say that we talk about AI, we are talking about statistical pattern matching. That means the data on which the model can take it as an input and can learn from that data and then can work in predicting. So we talk about Oracle. It described the AI in such a way that it has become a catchable term for applications which perform complex tasks that once required human input, such as communicating with customers online or playing chess. The term is often used interchangeable with the machine learning and deep learning. So they both terms, the machine learning and the deep learning, are the part of artificial intelligence. That means they have some sort of intelligence which is doing the pattern matching and building the models depend upon the user input, right? The one very good example of this deep learning or machine learning I would like to give is the Tesla cars, right? We have seen that, right? They have that controls over which the car automatically takes that decision, right? That when it need to stop or it needs to work or it needs to move forward, right? How does it got that intelligence? Based upon the input data they are collecting. They keep the pattern matching. They try to learn from that given data. That's why we are saying that they have some sort of intelligence built in it. From that data, we are going to train the model, and then we are going to build the model. And once we train that, yes, we'll test the model that how it is working to check the correctness of the system, right? So this AI is that term which is being used for the purpose to solve the human problems, right? Complex tasks which are there, which can include medical field as mentioned, which can include predicting of the transactions as fraud or not, which is the predicting about our health even, right? There are smart watches which are giving us the different instructions also, then that this is the amount of water you need to have, this is the activities you need to do based upon that. So how they are learning from that data that we are giving, and they are doing the pattern matching, right? So this is what AI means. How they get the sort of intelligence in that? Through the pattern matching with the data that we are providing as a human input, right? So AI has been with us from so many years, like we talk about specifically generative or not, because these terms comes new into the existence where we keep on saying that yes, that we now want something from where we can generate new data, right? So we have been using it from so many years. We have another example of Siri, right, that interacts with us, right? So another example of this, that now AI can synthesize the part or all of a creative work. And McKinsey defines the generative AI as algorithms such as ChatGPT, which can be used to create new content like audio, code, images, text, simulations, videos. And recent breakthrough in the field have the potential to drastically change the way that we approach the content creation, right? Yes, we have been using the AI since a long time. It has been the part which is helping us with so many examples I've given it till now, like Tesla cars, right? We are generating the models or building the models to predict the cancer detection cells or to predict about the health of the person, right? But now it has taken it to another level that even with these AI algorithms, we can even generate new data. And this one example we have available with us is ChatGPT, through which we can generate the new data, new content, which if we use in a good way, yes, will be certainly definitely beneficial for us, right? And apart from this, yes, there are many different tools which are available in order to generate the data using audios, images, text, simulations, and videos. That means it has a breakthrough for us, that it has drastically changed the way that how we are thinking about it, right? For example, I want to learn a new programming language. I am a first year student, right? But again, I just do not want to start it from the very beginning. I just want someone to generate some content which can be very helpful and useful to me. Yes, yes, the chat GPT is there, which can be the beginning point in order to help us to generate the new content for the problem solving, right? So it just changed the way that we think. This is what the term means, generative AI, right? So we also need to understand how actually this generative AI works in a very simple way. Let's suppose the system generate the text or images using its previously built model that already mentioned that. So we have to build that model, right? Of the statistical distribution, we call it as tokens, chunks of words, right? Including punctuation marks, pixels, etc. And created from its very large training data set. That means the human data is being provided to the model for training purpose. We build that model. So now model has that statistical pattern, right? Matching. Okay. It has the capability in the form of this data. And we also test the model that how well it is working based upon providing certain examples, right? That it has been able to generate the data or through chat, or like we talk about Siri with Siri also, right? sometimes it happens that when we talk to Siri, it might not be able to understand few of the words specifically, right? Now, what can be the sort of challenge in there? The challenge is the data. The data which has been provided to the Siri in that model which has been built might has not been provided to the Siri in terms of understanding the meaning of that word, right? That's why it also have their limitations, right? So through this statistical pattern matching, we train the data, we build the system, we test the system to check about the correctness, and then we'll sort of give the inputs to the model to generate new data, chat, we provide documents, images to generate n number of things that we can do. But how this is understandable to the model? Like, for example, if I ask a model, okay, write an essay in 20 or 200 words, right, about India. So they are going to generate the tokens, chunks of the word, right? Separately, they are going to separate each data and then try to understand all those words. And from there, yes, they do the pattern matching and keep on finding the content that we will be using. Yes, we also admit that it might can make some mistakes based upon the limitations of its process, right? But the output still might look like what you want. Like, for example, I've just been using a tool and I've given it to generate an image of something, right? So yes, it will be able to generate that what we are expecting, but yes, we expect that due to its limitation or mistake or understanding, because whatever the models that we are using behind the bar, they are the generative models, right? Generalized models, which has already been there. They have their working, right? They can take the amount of data in the respective field only, right? So like it has been able to generate the image, but it's a blurry image, right? We can see that, and we have been providing that unreliable photocopier or blurry JPG image that has been given. It has been able to generate the image, but it's a blurry. That means we can expect the certain kind of mistakes in the model due to the limitations of that, right? We can ask it questions, but a very specific types of questions, and we call it as in the form of prompt, like following these structures. So here is a fragment of text, like an example. Just tell me how this fragment might like continue in this language or suggest a particular image, right? You can ask that, okay? Tell me, or we can also, like for example, I mentioned you that let's suppose I'm a programmer. I want to start the programming, right? I'm not very new to that and I just do not want to start it from a beginning. Yes, I can give the prompts, right? Write a program code which will add two numbers, right? Now, yes, they can give us the program code that will add two numbers, but again, it is not going to be certainly defined in which programming language, right? Which means whenever we are going to use that prompts, we have to be very specific with this, right? That what kind of prompts that we are using and very specific question that we are asking for it to produce the result. Okay. So the prompts, whatever that we are going to give, like I have given it here, write a program code which will add two numbers. The prompts are then converted into the tokens, right? As mentioned, so they are going to get converted into the small tokens of the words, right? Okay. In whatsoever the number of data it is going to define, we are going to have as many as number of tokens. Then the system is going to analyze each of the word in the form of that has been assigned as a token. And then it need to understand that, okay, what are the possibilities that it is likely to come next after this word, right? That whatever the content that we are generating, and based upon the tokens in its own data set, as many as of 32,000 can be produced in ChatGPT version 4. So whatsoever the data, it gets divided into these chunks. It will be assigned as the tokens. And then from there, the vector of probabilities from their own tokens, they can rearrange, right? And get to understand what might can come in the next. And from there, they can take one token out and generate the data, right? So these prompts, because as simply if we are going to provide the entire data to the model, it will difficult to process, right? It might not be able to understand. This is the reason that the data, which is might be in the text format, we call it as semi-structured data, right? So this data is going to be passed to the model that is going to distribute the data, define the tokens for the same, and then the system analyze using these tokens, what can be the results which can be generated, or possibilities or probabilities, depends upon the tokens and its own data which has been there, right? So it's very important for any model that we are talking about. We have to train the model, right? We have to test the model based upon various combinations data, right? And as we talk about generative AI, they are being used. Yes, these models are here, process the data in this form. So with each output, it keeps reanalyzing the probabilities again and again to decide the next tokens which can become. Like here is an example. She went to the store and does what? So each data is being distributed and divided and assigned to the different tokens. Whatever the models which are working for this generative AI tools, they're going to find the vector of probabilities from their own tokens, right? So she went to store and slept. She went to store and danced. She went to store and so all these kind of possibility they keep on reanalyzing again and again and again and again. And from their own list of tokens, that means they have their own data available that has been provided to the model at the starting while we were training them. From there, they can take one token out and get the rest checked, right? So she went to store and the best possible they found. Yes, she went to the store and shopped. So here, that's how it is working, right? The transformers, the T in the GPT, the T represent the transformers, right? Knows how to direct the attention to the specific parts. Like here, the main specific part is she went to store. If she went to store, they need to get the direct attention to those specific parts of the input to guide their selection of the new token from their own list, right? So these transformers will help them in providing their direct attention and guiding their selection of the output, such as verbs, tenses, objects that we talk about, right? And from there, they will generate this. So the system can give you different answers, right? That's what I was giving you an example. She went to store and danced. She went to store and bought. She went to store and clocked in, right? She went to store and like it can be any possibility. So the system keep on analyzing the data again and again and again and focusing on the important parts, right? And see, this is some inputs with outputs that has been generated. Yes, it is expected to do some mistakes, hallucinations, where the output doesn't seem to make sense. Like she went to store and dance. Why she will do that? She can do at home also, right? If possibility. So why it is important to accept everything it outputs as a face value, then reanalyze it and transform and then check it that what is the best output which can be produced. Okay. So we can expect the system to do some mistakes due to its limitation in terms of model capability, in terms of the data also, right? So this is what a basic introduction about that what is this generative AI, and this AI means that artificial intelligence that we are talking about, it has some sort of intelligence, right? With which they takes the input, we build the model and keep on taking the data. And through these particular example of generating the tokens, they generate the new data, right? Okay. They generate the new data. Now for this, I already mentioned that there are various tools which are there, right? Which can help us. But at the same time, it is very important for us to provide that specific input. And providing that input to the model that can generate the results from there, it's very important for us to understand one key term called as prompt engineering. An art, a science, what on your next job title, right? So prompt engineering is very important. It has also been seen with the report of this June 23, the generative AI's impact on productivity could add up to 4.4 trillion annually in value to the global economy, which means about 75% of the value that generative AI use cases could deliver across customer operations like marketing, sales, software engineering, research and development, and many more things. The generative AI can revolutionize the work by automating a significant portion of the employee's activity, up to 60 to 70% of their current workload, what they are facing, right? And this augmentation of individual capabilities has the potential to transform the way that we work. So as already mentioned, they all are the part of the artificial intelligence, right? Where machine learning, if I specifically talk about, yes, there are few models that are there, right? Like generally we talk about like supervised models are there, unsupervised models are there, right? Okay. For the purpose of like regression, for the purpose of like classification, for the purpose of, we'll talk about clustering, but these models have some limitations. What limitations? That whatever the data that we are going to provide, they can learn up to that only, right? They have the capability of learning from the data, but not to improve from there, right? That's why where the real world problems are there, which cannot be solved through machine learning. These are being solved through deep learning. Like Tesla cars problems are there, right? For example, if in a Tesla car, I already built that whenever an object comes, you need to just stop that car, right? But what if that object is so small that the car can be passed from there? So we want something which can learn from their own mistakes, like human does learn from their own mistakes, right? We have a neural system inbuilt. If I touch a hot pan once, I know that next time I do not have to touch because I'm learning from my mistake. Machine learning never learns from their mistakes, right? They do the prediction, they learn from the data, definitely, but they have that limitations that they cannot improve. Where deep learning is there, right? So artificial intelligence was with us from since 1956. Then machine learning came into the existence in 1997, and then in 2017, since the deep learning has been there, and now from 2021, yes, the generative AI powered tools are being there, which can create the new written, visual, auditory content based upon the prompts or the existing data. So the path to impact and the use case, yes, there are various sample use cases with respect to like business impact, right? Like automated customer service, the chatbots are there, right? We go to a particular website of any company, we keep seeing the chatbots which are there, which talk with us. Like we get that experience like we are talking to the humans, right? This can be used in the product knowledge management also. It can help us in drafting the blogs and social media content. It can help in personalized the marketing campaigns. It can also help in the sales proposal development. Whereas on a personal internal levels, yes, it can also help in code generation. For example, if I am facing a problem in the code, it can also help in providing the solution that where the mistakes are in finding that. This is the capability that the generative AI tools have, that it can reduce the workload also, right? It can help in personalized employee onboarding and training. It also helps in internal digital assistance and accelerated research discovery also. So this is what the path or the different use cases where it is impacting the whole industry, the business, productivity use cases, right? And it has been used to generate n number of data in a different format as required. So for that, the basic thing, we need to ingest the data, we need to train it, we need to tune it, it need to infer the statistical pattern, understand it, run this and give us the different outputs, right? So this has been, or this can be used with the help of this generative AI tools in order to bring out these such advantages. So there are different emerging models and landscapes there, including like there are open AIs like GPT-2, ChatGPT, GPT-3, 3.5, 3.4, right? For the purpose of generating the text. Whereas in order to generate the images, yes, we have this application. We have Whisper, Delhi, right? And we have the other softwares like Midjourney is available that has been used to generate the images, right? Also. And more importantly, yes, we do have few applications like a runway ML, right? Okay, which has been used to generate the videos also. So we have like Google's Palm, Palm 2, Lambda, UL2, Bard, and many other tools which are available and these languages, right? The models they are being uses in order to generate that. So these are the emerging models, landscapes which are there, which are helping us in generating all those data, right? Another few examples like we have this Google DeepMind, we have Retro, AlphaCode language, Flamingo, Ghetto, right? NLLB, Sparse, all MLP, right? Make a video, DeepNet language, right? All these different tools are there. So you just can explore that also. Yes, it's really difficult to capture everything here in a single session, but I hope that you take this as a starting point. From there, you can search and explore and try out few of the examples in order to generate the data. Okay, so these are few of the examples, like one of the example of this bot where the prompts are being used, like it has been used to create the content, like draft a proposal from yesterday meeting notes, and even we can attach the files and give that, and it can generate that, right? So that's where it become very important for us that how we are using it in such a way that it can be useful. And this is what we talk it about as prompt engineering. So prompt engineering is the process of designing, refining, and optimizing input prompts to guide a model towards producing more accurate outputs while keeping the cost efficiency. Okay. Yes. Like for example, again, I'm saying that we give the prompt, right? So I just want to write a proposal, like a first prompt, I'm giving it as an input to this, write a proposal about merging of like IoT and blockchain, let's suppose, right? So obviously it is going to give me a proposal, but I do have my own requirement, right? Maybe I want it in 200 words, right? Or maybe I want it in the form of points, right? I wanted to highlight the few structures also, right? So that's where it is the process of designing, refining also, right? That means it can also take the first input and generate the data. And from that, it can also do refine their own previous research. Like I'll say, okay, you have written the proposal about merging of IoT and blockchain. Get it into 400 words, right? Okay, defining and then optimizing the input prompts to guide a model towards producing more accurate and outputs while keeping cost efficiency, right? So prompt engineering is very, very important. So this is the prompt autonomy, right? Like write a, another example, like write a product launch email for new headphones, right? That's the instructions we are giving to the model. This product is AI powered and priced at this much amount, right? Input data. The tone is friendly and exciting. That means we want it to write a product launch email. We are refining it, right? This is the data that giving some information through input data that this is a AI product and priced at this much amount. Then we are saying that whatever the email that you are writing, the tone should be friendly, right? And exciting. Okay. And what is the target format that we want? Yes, that we want output as a JSON object with subject and body fields line, right? And it is producing these kind of examples that output we can expect, right? So it is the process of designing, defining, and generating a more accurate output, right? Okay, over the instructions, these input data, the context and target formats. We can even give that, right? I want in this specific format. Okay. Yes, they keep on using all the data in the form of tokens, characters, right? They keep on analyzing the words and keep on finding the tokens and reanalyzing it again and again and again till that it produces the more accurate information. Yes, that depends the restrictions and the limitations of each and every model that will be using there. The prompts and cost efficiency, right? So there are different models like like GPT 3.5 Turbo, GPT 3.5 Turbo. They both are using the different context like 4,000, 16,000, right? There are different prompts that require per thousand tokens, right? And in order to complete that, yes, each and every use a different cost to run that model. And this is why we are saying that we wanted to generate a more accurate because the cost is one key factor in there, right? So prompt and completion length, the number of APIs are being data that is getting generated, right? The number of API calls during the development stage, the type of the model that we are using deployed, right? How much it will take the cost to complete that. So model selection strategy starts with the heaviest model and then gradually ramp down to the cheaper one, which generates the satisfactory results. So it's really very important, right? Space efficiency also, right? That means in the prompts that we are giving, it is very important for us to use the white spaces very, very carefully, right? That where we are giving, in which format we are giving, because tokens can sometimes be counterintuitive also, right? They have their own assumptions also, right? So that's where it becomes very important for us to use the space efficiency also in a better way that can help in understanding more easily, right? So there are some general recommendations with respect to the prompt, like wherever you are using on the various tools, like for generating text, audios, videos, whatever it is, be very specific that what is your expectation, that what is your instruction. The order is very, very important, right? It does matter a lot. Okay. You double down, check it, right? What instructions you are giving, define it again, and give the model an output also, right? This is the format in which we want to be produced. So these are some general recommendations that whenever you are using or give some prompts, it's very important that you have instructions, repeat the instructions at the end, add clear syntax like headers, separators, break down the task. Okay, first I want you to generate a summary, right? About certain topic, we'll say. Then I want you to get into 500 words, right? Then generate an points format, right? Okay, fourth, highlight the certain keywords which are important. Okay, so you can break down your task also, right? Adjust the parameters, that what's your top probabilities, the temperatures are there, right? So there are few technical recommendations also that need to be keep in mind while we are giving the inputs to the models, the prompt in the form of prompts that can help to be more specific, right? So there are few prompts that are being used like zero shot or few prompts, short prompts are there. And these are few of the examples which are given. With the help of this, you can understand that how it is very important, right? Okay. So for example, here, if I talk about this example here, like for in this zero shot example, it's been given. Like before that, we are putting what is the annual water demand of a single household containing the family people who are at home of average 200 days per year, and they use the average of 100 liters of water per day, right? So we wanted to find out what is the annual water demand of a single household containing a family of the people who are at home of average of 200 days per year. They are at home and they are using 100 liters of water per day, right? So the annual water demand of a single family household containing four people who are at average of 200 days using 100 is comes out to be this much they have calculated, right? Okay. But after that, we are refining. So like, for example, what is the annual water demand of a single household family coming, the people who are at home of average 200 days per year and use an average of 100 liters of water per daily. Now, that need to be calculated step by step if you talk about, right? So zero shot reasoning or these prompts, they are very important that how we are dividing it in such a way that it shall be understandable to us, right? Now let's think about it step by step and calculate. Like for example, the number of days we have in a year is 365. Now calculate the number of days the family is at home. 200 days per year they're at home, right? Step 2. Step 3, calculate the total demand of water supply. If they use 100 liters of water per day, the total demand will be 100 liters multiplied by 200 liters. This will come out to be. And now calculate the annual water demand of single family household is 20,000 liters per year. It is very important that how these prompts are being used, right? That's why it is very, very important. Okay. Because with that, it can do some mistakes also, right? That it is calculated. But eventually, if we divide our problem and if we think it step by step, this should be that we are expecting, right? This is why we have some technical recommendations and those general recommendations which are very important, right? And similarly, example of these publicly available generative AI tools which are there. So ChatGPT, Stable Diffusion, OpenAI, right? But these tools are there that you can use, and you can even take the scan this and you can find the list of there, and then you can use it for your purpose, right? They provide some few opportunities to generate the few content of images free of cost, right? And another example of this few short reasoning, like let's suppose a Roger has a 5 tennis balls. He buys two more tennis balls and each can has 3 tennis balls. How many tennis ball does he have now, right? So like for example, five, the Roger has 5 tennis balls. He buys two more and now each one can have his 3 more tennis balls. So we need to add. So they are giving us an answer is 11. But if specifically we see and we try to understand that, there can be a different answer for this, right? Okay. So there are these two types of, we'll say that zero shot and this few short reasoning. They are just taking the examples that how these prompts are being used and how well they can be accommodated in order to refine the prompts in such a way that we are expecting it to produce the more accurate information, right? That again depends upon what instruction, input data, that context you are giving and which output you want, right? So it is very important. Okay. So there are a few more examples which are there that can be used in raw, like for example, on an average, Joe throws 25 punches per minute and fights last 5 rounds of 3 minutes. Now we want that how many punches did he throw? So if per minute 325 punches are there and he fights for 5 rounds of 3 minutes, that means in 1 minute, if 25 punches are there, in 3 minutes, there can be 75 punches. And for a 5 round of 75 punches, 375 punches can be there to calculate, right? Okay. Similar way on average, if Joe throws 25 punches per minute, right? So same example, which is there. So it becomes very, very important for us to give these prompts specifically that what we wanted to calculate. And yes, we can expect few of the mistakes from the model. Again, depend upon their mistakes, right? So using generative AI tool as an academy, we can also use. So few of these examples are there for the course slides that can be generated. We can use the chat GPT in order to cut the time spent on the low value, right? But necessary jobs that can goof around with fellow academics on social media to generate, like write a two to three sentence bio of assistant professor Corey Flaris for a speaking engagement, right? We can use that to draft a biography text also. We can use a bin chat to draft a grant proposal also, right? We can assign the students to pick up these tools and you can use it. And I hope that as an example, you can use these one of the tool, right? And generate some content and for the purpose of learning all those things that you can use and produce that, right? Okay. So I hope that with this, I've just given through this particular masterclass, I've just given you an idea about what are generative AI or what is generative AI or what are the different tools which are there, how generative AI can be used, right, in order to generate new content, talking about the AI which is already been existing with machine learning, deep learning, right? Now it's generative AI, and how the prompts are very important for us to be with very more specific, considering the technical recommendations and specific recommendations in order to enhance and refine our result, right? So yes, there are some specific realistic risk of using generative AI also, like violation of data privacy, right? Violation of intellectual property also, right? Violation of academic integrity also, right? So do a spot check of the outputs, right? Using a search engine to see wholly from another work or like how the content is being generated, right? Check the terms of service, right? That will use the inputs or prompts as a training data set, right? Okay. So the human skill set will continue to do the communication as we have to provide the data, right? Okay. It's very important. So I hope that with this lecture, the generative AI tools that given the information about this can be a shortcuts to dispose of the low value task or a jumpstart creativity. They should always be used with your thinking cap because they are prone to do the mistakes and hallucinations, right? So I hope you take this as an advantage, as a starting point also, in order to explore the various AI tools which are there and try it for the purpose of creating drafts, using generating text, images, all those things, right? So that's it from my side for today's session. I hope just a bit introduction about this, which has been given. I hope it is understandable and you can use it for the purpose to explore the new content, right? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Prabhjot. So we got certain questions from students. Would you like to take that up? Yeah,
Definitely, ma'am.
right. Allow me just 1 minute. So the first question that I can see is how far is generative AI helpful in sourcing the information of an individual?
See, when we talk about these generative AI tools, right? As we already know that they have their own limitations also, right? Yes, because as more and more number of data which has been provided to the generative AI tools, which they are using for the purpose of generating new content or talking about learning, right? But at the same time, it also do have a bit violations as already mentioned in terms of taking the data because it is prone to do mistakes that we can use it in a good way also, but definitely the content which they are taking, yes, that can be a bit to think for that, right?
Right. All right. Wonderful. So, apart from that, the kind of questions we have, I can see that are more in relation to the course. So, I would like to take up those questions. There are few questions that I can see in under Q&A. Students are asking about the next two sessions that are going to happen. In totality, we have three live sessions. So, one master class is ongoing. I mean, this has already been covered and there would be two more sessions, but how will you get an update on the same? So learners, we will keep on sending the details over emails to you, so keep an eye on the emails also. While using your learning management system, your LMS, wherein you have all your modules stacked up, you can also check out the announcement section there. So we keep on announcing any upcoming live class there itself. We keep on notifying you. And the best way to stay updated with the latest news is to follow the social media. I think that is the easiest way. Follow us on social media and you'll get all the updates. So that's one thing. Then I can see that students are also posting that they have already completed all the modules and they have scored well. What is going to happen next? So like I said, there are 3 live classes that you need to complete. One is something that you have already completed. There are 2 more sessions that will take place. Sit in those sessions, and afterwards there will be a problem statement, that is a project that will be assigned to you all basis on the feedbacks and the results so far you have accumulated on the module quizzes. We will be generating your certificate. So stay tuned. Again, I would say that keep an eye on the email, stay connected on social media, and check out your announcement section. That is very important. I believe we have almost covered everything. If there are any other questions that student may like to ask, we'll keep the Q&A open for next 2 minutes. You all can put in your questions and we can keep on addressing the same. So I can see someone has asked, can the session be conducted on Google Meet? So this is happening on Teams. So we always try to do it on Teams only. Okay, one common question that I can see is that some learners are stuck on module 4. They are not able to move ahead. So please ensure that you are spending 30 minutes on that module. That module does not have any quiz. The only way to get graded is that you go through the entire video and you spend 30 minutes on that. And then once you're moving ahead, we recommend that you refresh that particular screen before moving to the next module. So that's how you will be able to complete. There are a lot many learners who have already completed 100% of the modules. In the forum, we also keep on addressing this issue that learners are coming up with. So I hope this is going to solve your problem. All right. Do we have any other questions from the students? Okay. All right. So when we do not have any other question, I think we can wrap up the session. Also, please note that we'll be sharing again another email wherein you will find the recording of this particular session so that you can revisit the concept that has been taught by Sir. Thank you so much, Dr. Prabjot, for shedding light here, giving a great insight on generative AI concepts. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And thank you, learners, for attending this session. Stay tuned and keep updated. Thank you so much.